Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? We're back with another song review today. I listen to a lot of Resistance music. No reason in particular, he said, fairly sarcastically. Been listening to a lot of protest music recently to keep my spirits high. And I happened to watch a show on HBO Max, Creature Commandos, which was quite good. I'm super biased. It had a fantastic soundtrack. I'm going to put it into the conversation of one of the best soundtracks of any show I've seen in a long time, because it draws heavily from Corpaclani, who's a Finnish folk metal band that I really like, and from Gogol Bordello. Gogol Bordello is the song one of the songs we're going to do from that band. Gogol Bordello does gypsy punk. If you know them, you probably know the song "Start Wearing Purple," which is a fantastic song and not the one we're going to do today. So yeah, man, that's the song that I knew first. Why I know it or where it came from, somewhere in my past ADHD history of listening to a little bit of everything, is where that exists. So I've known this band for a long time. Like this band, gypsy punk is like a vibe. It's not an all the time thing for me, but Start Wearing Purple or Alcohol, American Wedding. There's a couple regular Gogol Bordello songs that are in the mix. And today's song, which we're going to be talking about, which is Supertheory of Supereverything, from the 2007 album. So the song's been around for a while. I don't know that this song was in Creature Commandos, but this was a song. Lots of different Gogol Bordello songs in that show. That show will probably get a separate review. I don't know. We'll see where I'm at in my recording process. So yeah, Supertheory of Supereverything. For those who are new to the channel, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I don't know anything about music, so I'm talking about mental health concepts in songs. So mostly we're going to focus on lyrics. I'm ADHD, so I like to have lyrics on screen. So we're going to have a video that has lyrics for us, and we'll talk about it. Okay, let's do the song. Here we go. Supertheory of Supereverything.
First time I have read the Bible, it had struck me as unwitty. I think it may start a rumor that the Lord ain't got no humor. Put me inside SSC. Let's test super strength theory. Accelerate the protons. I stir it twice and then just admit. Cause I don't read the Bible. I don't trust disciples. Even if they're made of marble or canal free plane. I don't read the Bible. I don't trust disciples. Even if they're made of marble or canal free plane.
Okay. As somebody who works with religious trauma and is ex-evangelical, the chorus being "I don't read the Bible, I don't trust disciples" feels very enlivening for me. This is a band that's hard to not dance to. Just a heads up, I won't be doing any dancing because I am not good at music. So nothing I do is on beat. And there's a tiny delay between the recording process. So I'd be even more off the beat. But I am self-aware that I'm not good at music, so I won't be dancing. But like great music to have on while you're doing stuff. ADHD folks who are with me on that, we need music on all the time in order to do daily tasks. Like, yeah, Gogol Bordello is really great to have on while you're folding laundry or doing dishwasher or whatever, like mundane tasks. Gogol Bordello or get you dancing around. If you're low dopamine and you just need to move, right, without even doing tasks, great to dance around, great to get some blood flowing, get some dopamine in your body from physical movement. 2 thumbs way up, Gogol Bordello. Gypsy punk. Gogol Bordello is they're a gypsy punk band from Manhattan, from New York. The band formed with members from all over the world. I believe Gogol Bordello is, I guess, I don't know, technically Russian, perhaps. But the name is named after Nikolai Gogol, who was a Ukrainian writer, and they chose him as sort of their namesake because, as the lead singer said, he smuggled Ukrainian culture into Russia, and their plan with Gogol Bordello was to smuggle gypsy punk into the American music scene. So, a Ukrainian classical writer. They were also going to be named after a composer, and they went with Bordello because I think it just sounded better. And they said Americans didn't know enough classic historians. Not wrong. The lead singer's name, what is Eugene something, which always throws me off because Eugene Hutz. Um, yeah, and like I don't know, they've been around since 1999. Um, done various soundtracks, different things. But yeah, like the gypsy punk thing is, as with a lot of music I'm listening to right now, anti-fascist, opposed to sort of this idea of land ownership. The Romani heritage here, taking ownership of the word gypsy, which is often used in a derogatory fashion, and adding it to punk music to sort of middle finger to the system. Um, you know, not caring what the man has to say about their music. So it's certainly a vibe. And if there's a man who has lots of opinions about things that aren't up to him, that would be the Lord. Um, the big guy up in the sky who wrote the Bible, supposedly. Gogol Bordello, not a big fan, doesn't really care. And again, as somebody who's read the Bible, as somebody myself here who's read the Bible multiple times, because I was a weird ADHD on spectrum kid, so like have to do all the things to completion multiple times. I read the whole Bible multiple times. It's a great way to become an atheist, is to read the entire Bible. Um, the Lord doesn't have a lot of humor. When I was a Christian therapist, when I started out my career, I still identified as a Christian. I worked at a Christian counseling place. And like I spent so much time working with people who were probably deconstructing, and I didn't have the language for that. Um, I was a liberal, progressive Christian, and so working with a lot of kids who were LGBTQ plus, and their parents would kind of drop them off in my lap and be like, "Fix my kid, they're gay," and they'd be like, "They're not broken. I will help them learn how to deal with having a shit parent." Um, I like had this thing where like God's got a sense of humor because look at the platypus, but like a lot of things that I reflect on from when I was Christian, it's just kind of cringy and like doing a lot of like heavy lifting for supposedly the um, omnipotent presence in the universe that having to explain a lot of the shitty stuff in the Bible, like why submit to your husbands, and spend I can't tell you how many hours I spent explaining why that cannot be taken literally because we have so much data that says that's not how healthy relationships work. So, God not having a lot of humor is pretty biblical, I think. Again, he killed everybody multiple times, populated the world through incest. Maybe that's the joke? Question mark. I don't know. God has a lot in common with the front page of Pornhub. Like, perhaps that's not the morality, the source of all morality that Christian nationalists like to think it is I guess my opinion on that. Lord, I got no humor. Certainly not the Lord of the Old Testament. Um, I don't think Jesus tells a lot of jokes in the New Testament either. So not a lot of humor. The SSC he mentions is the super collider. So that's where it sort of gets into the protons and neutrons and getting into like this religion stuff seems a little questionable. Let's test out the science stuff because it is testable and we can learn things and then we can replicate them. Ricky Gervais, I think, famously, and like whatever, he's a transphobe, so fuck that. But I don't think he's a transphobe. I think he just doesn't understand his privilege in making fun of trans people. I guess that makes him a transphobe. Punching Down, not a great look in comedy. But as somebody who talks about atheism in a somewhat approachable, understandable way, he's talked about, and it's not an original point he's made. I think he did it on an interview with Colbert, who's famously Catholic. That if you got rid of all of modern knowledge, religion wouldn't come back looking like it does now. Like you couldn't recreate it. It only makes sense in the context of its time in which it was written. But science would come back as we understand it because these are laws of the known universe, and we would test them and come back up with that stuff. So yeah, let's test superstring theory. And like string theory, I believe now I'm not a physicist. Uh, defend science. I defend psychology as a science, not as a soft science, but as a science. There's a lot of good research and science that goes into what we do. And yeah, so I'm not a scientist. I was raised evangelical Christian, so I don't know a lot of physics because I was taught the world was created in 6 literal days. Um, so I'm not going to comment on the science here, but from what I understand, I believe chaos theory and sort of some things around chaos theory supersedes has taken over the idea of string theory. But why a band like Gogol Bordello would be sort of drawn to the idea of string theory is like it's very flexible, it's always moving, it's hard to predict, and like the fractals and the chaos theory is very fascinating information, and explains a lot of the beauty in nature, why things like the crystal formations of snowflakes and why leaves grow the way they grow, and how those things are. There's a pattern to it, but it is not a predictable one. And it's chaos theory. So have fun. All right, let's move on. Let's add the music back. Maybe. We did it.
From the maelstrom of the knowledge into labyrinth of doubt, frozen underground, ocean melting, milking on my mind. Give me everything theory without Nazi uniformity. My brothers are protons, my sisters are neurons. I stare at it twice, it's instant family. I don't read the Bible. I don't trust disciples. Even if they made of marble or canals biblically. My brothers are protons, my sisters are neutrons. I steer it twice dla прекрасных дам.
That last line, I believe, is Slovakian. Where am I? Here I am. That last line is Slovakian for all the beautiful ladies, I believe is loosely what it translates to. So he's stirring it up for the ladies out there. It's just like it's fascinating, even with like Start Wearing Purple. The gypsy punk is like incredibly danceable party music, and also like sneaking in real things. Like Start Wearing Purple holds a special place in my heart because any song that like name drops Michel Foucault and Diogenes is like awesome. I've seen a lot of Diogenes posts recently because I think what the quote is something to the effect of the only place to spit in a rich man's house is in his face. So you know, as we're organizing how to hand out pitchforks to people in storm castles, metaphorically, the idea of some of these French philosophers and postmodern thinkers is really appealing. The lyric without Nazi uniformity, again, without sort of that authoritarian, autocratic, dogmatic approach. Song is about how he is not particularly religious and he's skeptical of disciples of organized religion, and also not like wholesale throwing out all of it, just throwing out like the authoritarian nature of it. Christianity struggles with this because it is deeply authoritarian and doesn't do a lot. Looking at you, progressive Christians, it's hard to say like, hey, we're anti-fascist when your whole religious structure is built on authoritarian approaches. And even just being like, but our church is organized differently is like, yeah, the concept of God as laid out in the Bible is authoritarian. And so then if we're like, yeah, but it's not literal, it's just a piece of literature, we like what Jesus says in the Beatitudes, like I'm here for that. And also then just as a piece of literature, like pick a less problematic one. I don't know. Maybe like don't do your Sunday book club on a book that you're admitting out loud and owning is deeply problematic, that you have to ignore a bunch of it. Was that one of the chief people at NASA was recently sworn in, and they swore in on a copy of Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot. So like you know, we can make whatever we want sacred. So picking something better than a problematic book would be great. But yeah, organized religion. I mean, the organizing principle of religion is that dogmatic approach, creating an in-group out-group dynamic so that we can say we're special and saved, but also we're terribly broken because we need a savior. But those people are definitely going to hell. And that's a big selling point for a lot of people, I guess. So yeah. Again, anti-fascist band, like calling out the Nazi uniformity. Right now is such a weird time in modern culture where like there's a pushback from calling stuff Nazi stuff, as if that like waters down the word. And I guess I think if you're being called a Nazi, like that should give you pause and reflect on what you might be doing. Uh, it doesn't mean you're like a member of the Nazi party in Germany from 1939 to 1945. It means you're espousing the same ideology that they did, which is fascist and authoritarian and anti-Semitic and racist and ableist and homo and transphobic. Those were all like actual party platforms of the Nazi party. So yeah, maybe you're like pro-America and not like pro-Germany, but everything else lines up. Going to call you a Nazi. So yeah, understanding the anarchist sort of definition of authority being when someone can do something to you that you can't do back to them. So that creates a hierarchy of power. The example that I often use is sort of like the bank can repossess your home, but you can't take anything from the bank, even if they wrong you or harm you somehow. Religion, the same way. Like I have served on church councils back when I was a Christian through troubled times because you invite the therapist to serve on your board for free rather than paying them as a consultant when you're about to have big scandals hitting. And yeah, like there's no accountability there. Pastors are, at least Lutheran pastors, which is what I was raised in, evangelical, are very fond of being like, no, I'm not in charge. I work for the congregation. They're like, they're absolutely in charge because, again, the idea of power, you can do something that other people can't. You can do something to them that they can't do to you. The congregation doesn't get up on Sunday and spout off from the pulpit. That's just the pastor's job. That's where the authority is. But again, like very hands off on that stuff. I was raised Wells, Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. No one's heard of it outside of Wisconsin and Minnesota, maybe Michigan, I guess. Just it's very small sect within the Midwest. It's very culty. In the past 2 months, 2 major scandals of teachers doing inappropriate stuff with children, with their students, and like the Wells is talking about how self-care is bad for you on their webpage because then you don't go to church on Sundays. And so don't hibernate in the winter. Make sure you're going to church because Jesus needs that 10%. He created the universe, which is unfathomable and ever expanding, and also struggles to pay his bills. So yeah, there's no accountability. Like, again, you would think if you were like part of a secret group or not even just part of a group that has a problem with abusing children, sexually assaulting children, you would, I don't know, maybe say that's bad and you don't condone it instead of trying to cover it up. And I will posit, perhaps I have heard somehow in the world that I am connected to, that perhaps at least one of those scandals was well known for a long time before it became public, and the church shockingly tried to cover it up. Classic Catholic Church strategy. Boy Scouts of America, Mormon Church, pick a denomination. They all do it. Let's get back to fun dance music. Where'd we go? Here we are. Unbeknownst to you all, while I'm recording, I accidentally minimized my own screen. So now I have 2 separate screens, which is much harder to navigate than it was previously. Here we go.
Or a schizophrenics or the astrophysicist in your family. Was your grandma auntie auntie? Was your grandpa bunty bunty? The asking embassy. Boom! I don't read the Bible. I don't trust disciples. Even if they made of marble, canal street playing party. And my grandma, she was auntie, and my grandpa, he was bunty. I said it twice. Canal street playing. Accelerating protons. I steer it twice, and then just tell me.
Good song. Yeah. So kind of the whole idea of the song is like why we're bringing in the particle accelerators because like yeah, at a literal basis of who we are made of the same compounds. It's all the same stuff, and yet we as human beings keep putting ourselves into the play on words at the end there. The parties that we're part of, whether political or religious, the divisions that we put in are no good. They don't help us. They make us worse. And we could just be collaborative on things. We could be working together. Like, we make enough food in the world to feed 10 billion people, and there's less than 10 billion people on the planet. And so the idea that anyone's going hungry is a policy choice. So maybe we should scrap that system because it sucks. We should feed people, especially when we have enough food for it all. And this is why we don't put our faith into marble statues or religious trinkets sold out on the street. Fuck all that noise. Obviously, as somebody who's an immigrant and speaking for Eugene here, Gogol Bordello, as somebody who's immigrated, as somebody who has come to the country and had to go through that embassy process, being asked, where were your grandparents? Were they anti-communist members were they members of the party, et cetera, et cetera? Like again, breaking us into little groups. The mental health piece that unfortunately is super relevant because RFK said he's going to send people to wellness farms. They've stopped using the word camps because they know that doesn't sound great. Because if you send a certain concentration of people to a certain camp, it does elicit a certain response from anyone who cares about anything related to human decency. So wellness farms, from the guy with a heroin addiction, I think he's recovered. I don't want to be shitty to addicts, and also to this particular addict, I very much want to be shitty because he's an idiot and a wealthy one and gonna hurt people. So yeah, the sex maniacs, the schizophrenics, we're gonna send those people off, or we're not gonna let them in. In the context of the song, you get asked at the embassy. Not taking in those people. The rich, literally today, I saw Trump is just selling passports for $5 million. The Gold Plus, it's just a subscription to be a citizen now. I was gonna swear less in this video than I have been in my recent ones because of how dumb everything is, but it is personally trying to not swear. So yeah, we could do things better. The fact that it is a policy choice by a bunch of dumb idiots that are greedy and because their parents didn't love them enough growing up. Fuck it, let's get together. There's more of us than there are of them. Again, the ruling 1% is just 1% of the population. So let's get rid of them and do something better, y'all. And let's listen to Gogol Bordello while we do it. And this would be good for us. Sometimes people are like, why? What if therapy wasn't political? I don't tell my clients about my political beliefs. Like literally who can walk in the door and who can't is political. Can they afford to pay for it? Do they have insurance? Political. So I am not interested in that disingenuous line of question. Gogol Bordello is awesome. Check out a bunch more of their stuff. Gypsy Punk is very cool. Definitely, like if you can see them live, I have not, but they're one of the bands that's on my list to still see live because they are just a party from what I hear, knowing people who listen to this music and have seen them live. It's a good time. And again, uplifting music, soundtrack to building the resistance to fascists. Let's do it together. Drop down in the comments if there's a song you like, or you're, you got a good protest song I haven't talked about yet. Let's see, what else have I done? Just did a couple of Chumbawamba songs. Good Day to Fight the System by Shungudzo. Prison Song by System of a Down. We will do more System of a Down songs. I got some Infinity Knives coming up. I'm putting off Floyd because they're my favorite band, and like a 25-minute video for a 3-minute song is going to be hours worth of information as soon as they start doing Pink Floyd songs. But obviously, anti-fascist band. This is the four of the best concept albums of all time, and back to back to back. So yeah, we got more protest music coming up. Probably some Run the Jewels because I love them too. Although Killer Mike is doing what wealthy people do when they get wealthy, which is become more conservative. Which is why we're going to do Infinity Knives instead. So yeah, I don't know. I'd love to hear from y'all. What are you listening to? What's your soundtrack for the resistance? And yeah, like and subscribe because that helps me. Fucking capitalism. We all gotta exist under it. So that helps people find me and then do therapy with me. Not that I'm interested in being internet famous or making money from YouTube. It's just so people can find me. All right, y'all. Like, subscribe, drop down in the comments, etc., etc. Take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Peace.